I want to talk about two guys from the Bible today, so I'm going to talk fast. The first is King Manasseh, and we find his story in 2 Chronicles 33 and in 2 Kings 21, and he was a bad hombre. His dad was King Hezekiah, who was a good king. And basically, Manasseh undid all the good that his dad had done, and it was worse than that. He was really evil to the core. He had sacrificed one of his sons in the fire, and he had gone so far as to put an idol in the very temple of God. And he was just probably the worst king Judah had ever had. And it says in verse 10 of chapter 33 in 2 Chronicles, "The Lord spoke to Manasseh and his people, but they ignored all his warnings. So the Lord sent the commanders of the Assyrian armies, and they took Manasseh captive, and they put a ring through his nose, bound him in bronze chains, and led him away to Babylon. But while in deep distress, Manasseh sought the Lord his God and sincerely humbled himself before the God of his ancestors. And when he prayed, the Lord listened to him and was moved by his request. So the Lord brought Manasseh back to Jerusalem and to his kingdom. And then Manasseh finally realized that the Lord alone is God." Guys, that's so cool. God gave him a do-over. When Manasseh, after all of the evil that he had done, when Manasseh humbled himself and sincerely cried out to the Lord, he heard him. And he said, "Okay, I'll give you a chance." And so Manasseh did. He undid a lot of the bad that he did. So it's a really cool story, and I highly recommend you read it for yourself. But there's another guy that cries out to the Lord. And he's in a bad situation too, but he didn't create his situation. This is blind Bartimaeus, and this is in Mark chapter 10. And when Jesus lived, in the Bible times, if someone was born blind, they thought that their parents had sinned, and it was like a bad thing in their family, and they couldn't work, so they were often beggars. And so that's where we find Bartimaeus, and we're in Mark 10, beginning in verse 46, and it says, "Then they reached Jericho, and as Jesus and his disciples left town, a large crowd followed him. A blind beggar named Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, was sitting beside the road. When Bartimaeus heard that Jesus of Nazareth was nearby, he began to shout, 'Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me.'" I love this. "Be quiet," many of the people yelled at him. But he only shouted louder, "Son of David, have mercy on me." When Jesus heard him, he stopped and said, "Tell him to come here." Well, he heals him. So I just love that, because Bartimaeus was blind, no fault of his own. He cries out to Jesus, and he stops what he's doing and says, "Come here," and he heals him. And so, guys, today, if you find yourself in a mess, whether you created it or it just happened, cry out to Jesus. He's still listening. Have a good day.